Well, greetings to those watching later online. And if you want to, have you missed any of the part of our series, Wisdom for the Way? Because we're going to be on the 5th stanza of Desiderata today. If you've missed any parts of it, you can go to Unity of Tempe on YouTube, and you can catch all of the messages there. I do encourage you to like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us grow our community. So it is Palm Sunday. So I have this palm here. One year, I made palm crosses for everyone. Who remembers those? Yes. And I, early on, few weeks ago, found palms, and I was like, I'm going to make palm crosses. Well, they dried out because I didn't care for them in the same way that I had before. I put them outside. Not a good idea. So last Saturday on our walk, I found the yard guys in the neighborhood were doing some trimming, and I said, oh, do you have any palms? So I got 2, and one kind of survived. I had to do some trimming for it. No palm crosses, but we have a palm. I've been babying this thing all week. I've been taking out, watering it. I've been putting it in a bucket of water inside. I've been putting wet sheets over it. It's been so cared for. So this is its celebration day today. So we're glad it's here with us. So today we are weaving together, as I said, stanza 5 of Max Ehrmann's Desiderata with the metaphysical path of Jesus as he entered Jerusalem. And we're going to begin by reminding ourselves of the story of Palm Sunday. So Jesus rides into Jerusalem on a donkey, as Sandra read in our daily word. And the crowd goes wild, because word has spread about his teachings and his healings, and the people are living under Roman oppression, and they are convinced that he is the one that will finally set them free. And so they throw cloaks on the ground, and they wave these palm branches, and they shout. What do they shout out? Hosanna! They shout out Hosanna, and they are certain that freedom is just ahead. But all that outer excitement doesn't last, because as Jesus keeps teaching love and he keeps calling out ego and the self-important religious leaders, the Romans become increasingly anxious as his following grows. And within days, everything shifts and the hosannas turn to crucify him. And through it all, what does Jesus do? Well, he stays centered. And when his disciples argue over who's most important, what does he do? He washes all of their feet, showing them that all are equal. And in the Garden of Gethsemane, feeling overwhelmed and sorrowful, he steps away, not to escape, but to align with the divine, praying, Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. So now we're going to look at stanza 5. I know in previous weeks we've looked at all the stanzas, but we're jumping right only to stanza 5 today. And so you can follow all the other ones, as I say, on our YouTube channel. So we're going to read the entire stanza 5, and then we're going to, as we've done before, walk through it line by line. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. So take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. So this line invites us into spiritual adulthood, asking us to stop treating time as a thief and instead as something that shapes us. Who doesn't look really forward to birthdays anymore? He's like, oh, another birthday. Yeah, we stop doing that. We just rejoice in that time, instead of treating it as a thief time. And so the counsel of the years is the wisdom that we gain from experience. It's the clarity of what really matters and what we don't need to hang on to anymore. Now, in Unity, we see the things of youth not just as chronological age, but as a stage of spiritual development. Metaphysically, things of youth are when we search for validation outside of ourselves, when we look for validation from others, when we look for validation from an external God that punishes or rewards, or when we believe that if we pray just right and just hard enough, that we won't have any discomfort in our lives. So to gracefully surrender those things is to release the habits that once helped us cope, but now they just keep us small and locked in. And it's to shift from trying to control life to letting Spirit guide us through life. And spiritual maturity isn't about perfection. It's about letting go of the ego's need to be in control so that the Christ presence in us can be the center. And it's moving from, God, do this for me. God, do this for me. Just do this one thing for me, to God, express through me. So Palm Sunday marks the end of, we might say, Jesus' more youthful ministry. Not that he really had any of those things that he aligned with, but it is the beginning of his real mature work of internal transformation. Say this with me. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. So this is about building our inner steadiness before life throws anything at us. And you know, life is a master at throwing things at us. This is not a toughness or a power through it attitude, but it is a deeper strength, the kind that comes from knowing who you are in spirit. And in unity, strength isn't force and it isn't muscle. It is one of our 12 powers. Our divine center doesn't get swept away when something unexpected hits. Sudden misfortune doesn't mean that we've done anything wrong. It simply means the reality of living in a world that, well, it's changing fast, and it doesn't always play fair. Now, this sudden misfortune could be a health challenge, it could be a loss, it could be the chaotic news cycle of 2026, or it could be any number of things in our life. But if our peace is built on external circumstances, what will happen? It will crumble. Spiritual strength isn't built in the storm. Let me say that again. Spiritual strength isn't built in the storm. It's built in ordinary moments. And so when that storm comes in our life, we can meet it with clarity and courage and a sense of who we truly are. Some of you in this community have been through quite intense storms recently, but you have met it with clarity and purpose and courage, and I see that in you. We build spiritual strength and nurture our spirit in meditation, in prayer, in community, here on Sundays, on our prayer call. And then when something blindsides us, when something knocks the wind out of us, we're not scrambling to find our spiritual strength. We're already connected to it. On Palm Sunday, the crowd was cheering, but Jesus knew the sudden misfortune of Friday was coming. He nurtured his spirit in silence, in the silence of the garden, so that when the storm hit, he was prepared. Let's read this one together. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. I don't know about you, but I think most of our minds can create whole disaster movies that can wake us up imagining worst case scenarios at times. Anyone? A few of us, right? You're like, I don't want to raise my hand, but yeah. Our imagination, another of the Unity 12 powers, it's so immensely powerful. And when it's pointed toward fear and we use it to rehearse a future we don't want, what happens? It drains our body. It drains our spirit. It drains our mind. And well, let's be real, we live in a time of doom scrolling and dark imaginings because there is a lot going on in the world right now. But world events aside, in our own lives, dark imaginings can keep us kind of stuck. But this line invites us to interrupt that pattern, not by pretending everything is fine, but by choosing where we place our attention. To shift from spiraling into worst case scenarios to grounding ourselves in the presence of spirit, right where we are. Now, we can't always stop that first fearful thought. Sometimes it just sneaks in there. It's like, oh, there it is. But we can breathe and return to center and redirect our imagination toward what we want to call forth, like justice and law and order and cause and effect for those who commit crimes against humanity. And so it is, amen. Gethsemane was a time of Jesus' dark imaginings. The human ego facing the prospect of what was to come, he moved through distress by shifting his focus to not thy will, but thine be done. And he refused to let the dark imaginings of ego dictate his reality. So, how much of your energy is spent rehearsing tragedies that haven't yet happened? Or just events that you don't want to have happen, rehearsing them in your mind. We often mistake worrying for preparing. But Holy Week invites us to trade those dark imaginings for trust. Say this one with me. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. And this name's something we don't always want to admit. Sometimes we're not actually afraid. We're just exhausted or isolated or stretched so thin that even small things start to feel enormous. And when we're tired or disconnected, our perspective shrinks. The world feels heavier, problems look bigger, and our resilience gets harder to access. And metaphysically, fatigue and loneliness are signs that we've drifted from our spiritual connection. Not because spirit has gone anywhere, but because when we're depleted, everything can whisper to us, you're on your own. Nobody cares. You're all alone. Nobody cares about you. And we know that's not true. That is not the truth. Well, sometimes the most scared, the most sacred act that we can do is to tend to our humanity. We can rest, we can reach out, we can let someone just simply sit with us or simply admit to another person, I'm worn out. Or go to lunch with dear friends and admit some things that I won't admit from here about how I might talk to Google these days about things that are going on. I'll leave that to your imagination. But it's important to just admit that, get it out in the open. And it's how we return to center. And it's how we support one another. Fatigue and loneliness distort reality. Who can admit to that? Fatigue and loneliness distort our reality. They make ordinary challenges feel like threats. They make us forget our strength. But when we care for our body, our heart, and our need for connection, fear loosens its grip and we remember that we're guided and that we're never actually alone. In the Garden of Gethsemane, overcome by fatigue, Peter, James, and John fall asleep when Jesus needed them most. Jesus, however, turned lonely into solitude and used the time to connect with the God within, with the Father. Last verse. Let's say this together. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. Now, this is something that many of us struggle with. Balance. We know that discipline and consistency matter and that our spiritual practices only shape us if we actually practice them. But discipline without gentleness is a nagging voice telling us, you should be doing better. Or it's spiritual perfectionism, which is just the ego wearing a halo. Gentleness is our inner loving nudge to return to center, not our inner critic of self-judgment. Now, we can be very, very tough on ourselves. We can want to be enlightened by Tuesday and perfect by Friday. And we can think a challenging time means we're not on the spiritual path. I'm not on the spiritual path because I'm struggling. No, that's not how it works. Spirit meets us where we are. So give yourself permission to be human, to know you are still loved, to remember that your soul unfolds through compassion, not criticism, and that every time you soften toward yourself, you make more room for the divine to flow through you. Jesus didn't waver, yet he was gentle with the human condition even while transcending it. In discipline, he stayed the course, yet his gentleness was everywhere. In unity, we don't seek to be perfect humans. We seek to realize our divine humanity. Be gentle with yourselves, beloveds. So here are a few takeaways for this week. So the first one is let experience guide you. Do one small thing each day that reflects who you are now, not who you used to be. Strengthen your center daily with your hand on your heart. Go ahead and do this. Take a 3-breath pause. And do that a few times a day to build spiritual steadiness. You feel your feet and your spine and your grounding. Interrupt the slide. When a dark imagining comes, do something to shift your attention. For example, name 5 things you can see around you, just where you are. Chair, tree, picture, candle, flowers, palm tree. It shifts your energy at that moment. Or count backwards from 10, breathing deeply between each number. Or say the prayer for protection. All these shift your attention. They shift you from spiraling and going deeper into that dark imagining. When overwhelmed, halt. Who knows halt? You're going to ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? And if you're hungry, you're going to make yourself a sandwich or something else that you can eat. Carry a granola bar in your bag, whatever it is that you need to have. Or are you angry? Find someone you can talk it through with. Or write, journal. Are you lonely? Are you tired? Meet those needs first, because your nervous system will thank you. And then practice gentle discipline. Choose a grounding practice to return to each day. For example, imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet into the earth, providing stability and strength. And visualize yourself in a peaceful, safe place and immerse yourself in the sensory details of that environment. I love that one so much. It's something we haven't necessarily done here before, but it's very grounding us and getting rid of that dark imagining space. So now we're going to anchor this with our beautiful Lenten song. And as you listen to it, allow it to nurture your strength of spirit. I love that song so much. So grounding. Let us say together, I'm a beloved child of God, here to be an ambassador of good. What are we here to be? Ambassadors of good. And what are we? Beloved children of God. Yes, and so it is time for our sharing. We are so very grateful for your gifts to our community. These do help us stay here, and we are so very, very grateful for your generosity. Let us say together, I am a joyful sharer of my good. I remember that as I give, I receive, and that God is my source. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Divine Spirit, we bless these gifts. We bless the generosity of everyone. We are so very grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Divine Spirit. We're so grateful that as we receive, we do also give tithes to our community as well. And we're so grateful that we have been able to honor Neil. I don't think that Glenda and Reed know this, through a donation to Lost Our Homes Pet Foundation. We're so grateful, Divine Spirit. Thank you for these gifts, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We bless these gifts. We bless the giver and the receiver and the stewardship of their use. Thank you. Thank you, Karen and Ruth. Thank you. And next Sunday, it's Easter. Who is ready for Easter? Yeah. Who's not ready but wants to be ready? I don't know what to say. So anyways, we have a fabulous Easter here. We join with, if you don't know, with Church of the Epiphany, and they're also another church that is meeting on the grounds here. And we do a potluck out in the courtyard. It is at 9 a.m. It's fabulous. So bring something that you like to share. And it is an amazing, who's been before and has loved it? It's amazing. And we have a little Easter egg hunt for the kiddies, so they can come at 9 o'clock as well. So who's going to be here next Sunday at 9 a.m. to join in? And if you're like, I don't want to come to the brunch, but I want to come to service, we will have service. It will start around 10 o'clock. Might be a little bit later, but be here at 10. And even if you come a little bit later, you can still partake in the brunch. It is fabulous. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to connect with each other. So thank you. We encourage you to be on our Zoom prayer calls on Thursday at 9:30 a.m. If you'd like a link, you can sign up on our email list over there. And so let us say together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. It is well with my soul, and I am grateful. Beloveds online, have a blessed Holy Week this week.